Hello and welcome to the SAFE Summit. My name is Marshall Guillory. I am the Vice President for the government practice at Agile Rising. We're a boutique consulting company. Today we're going to be talking about creating great teams and doing that while we're preparing for an art launch and some of the nuances in how we build effective teams that can reach the high performing state. So for our backlog today, we'll be examining the problem to solve. We'll be discussing what are our strategies on how to create great teams. We'll talk about a couple of different new workshops that we introduced to the Scaled Agile framework, and then the philosophy of meeting in the middle and how we can build effective teams that show team collaboration at a very deep level. So examining the problem to solve, let's go back a step and let's think about some of the guidance that we have in the implementation roadmap for SAFE. And that is from the Heath brothers, Dan and Chip Heath, and the book Switch, and all about scripting the important moves. And I love this particular book because it gives you so much of a focus on the details that doesn't override the vision for change. So if we think about scripting the important moves, there are several different parts that we need to get right to launch an amazing agile release train in SAFE. So we need leaders, but we also need motivated people. And we'll talk more about that as we move forward in this presentation. At the end of the day, our goal is to set the stage for people to be successful. And that requires us rolling up our sleeves and doing the hard work. So we have an implementation roadmap in SAFE that many of you are already familiar with. Perhaps you've even used this implementation roadmap before, which is based off of the work of John Cotter. And we have guidance. There are some great articles. But it leaves us to really think about how do we really organize around value with SAFE's principle number 10. We know about identifying value streams in agile release trains, and that's critically important. A value stream is the place in which we organize around value. We create a couple of different constructs in SAFE to think about value streams, the operational value stream, the development value stream, as well as the concept of an agile release train or a team of teams. And creating a great art is an art, pun intended. So if we think about our implementation plan, we're creating all of the detailed plans for how we're going to effectively launch our art, which includes organizing all of our training courses, completing the art readiness checklist, and also thinking about what are our teams going to be organized around? How are they going to be organized? And so we need a little bit more guidance, and this is how we do it at Agile Rising, and we want to share it with you. So how do we plan for great teams? First, we get organized. We have a large to-do list. As you all know, as SAFE program consultants, perhaps you've followed the roadmap before. We have to effectively complete the value stream identification workshop. That is a critical step of identifying our operational value streams so that we can understand the customer's experience with our organization or our company or our product. Then we identify the development value stream based off of what our solutions, our systems, and our people look like in our organization. What is their structure? We then have to gather organizational artifacts, things like your org charts. What does a hierarchy look like? We are in fact creating a dual operating system, and that second operating system is SAFE. And SAFE requires us to organize around value. So we have to identify the right collaborators, send out meeting invitations, figure out what tool we're going to use to facilitate the collaboration. So there then are a couple of key workshops that happen after the value stream identification workshop. That is the facilitate team design strategy workshops, and then your self-selection and team formation workshop, both of which are tools that we use in our consulting engagements. Additionally, we really love design thinking. Design thinking is part of the Scaled Agile framework, and the nature of design thinking and that double diamond pattern or divergence and convergence pattern is very useful and helping people to build incrementally their amazing teams. We'll also use Agile and Scrum, as you'll see in our workshop. For team design strategy, there are a bunch of things that we need to bring in conceptually, and we have to have the right people. So all of the things that you see on your slide now are concepts in SAFe. We understand customer journey mapping and its relationship to the operational value stream. We have our common banking example that you see in the value stream identification in the value stream identification workshop. We also know that there are other details with regard to value stream mapping that we will eventually get to as part of the SAFe DevOps course. All of these steps are really important in understanding how value flows through our organization. So in order to effectively create a team design strategy, we have to dig into the details of the customer experience, but we also have to dig into the details of our team's experience. And they experience delays, for example, which is where we focus our improvements. So bringing together all of this information is really important to setting the stage for success on your team design strategy workshop. So this is a collaborative event. The typical stakeholders for a team design strategy workshop are leaders, managers, and business owners in the value stream. It could also include team members. We have to choose wisely because we want to keep the collaboration group small. But this is why we can use multiple workshops with an overlay or kind of a Venn diagram of people coming together to collaborate iteratively and then incrementally producing the design strategy using design thinking. So this team's purpose is to build a proposed team design strategy based off of the context of the organization. It is more detailed than just simply filling out a roster spreadsheet. The goal of this process is to think about the pros and cons of certain team structures and team topologies and their interaction modes to determine what the best possible economic outcome could be for this team of teams, as well as the best outcomes for our customers and their business results. So we're applying the principles. We're not just moving people around. It's a critical aspect of lean and agile teams at its core. So we're designing teams that can live together as teams, and importantly, their capacity will live fully on their teams. Now we will discuss the impact of team topologies. Team topologies were gifted to us in the book of the same title. There are 4 different team topologies that we have integrated into the schedule framework, as well as the ART topologies, which are provided as examples to guide you in the creation of an agile release train conceptually. Again, we go back to our inputs. Have we truly taken a customer-centric approach to understanding the customer's needs and what makes them happy and what currently does not make them happy? What is it about how our teams are organized today around that customer journey that helps or hurts our product or our service that we're delivering to the customer? So we do have to think about how value flows. We may even have already run the DevOps course early in the implementation to understand the critical delays in our system. All of these things are inputs into understanding what the appropriate team topologies will be for our proposed team design strategy. The topologies are listed here as complicated subsystem team, enabling team, stream-aligned team, and platform team. These topologies can exist on any of the teams within your Agile release train. The Agile release train itself, of course, is a team of teams. When we are discussing large cyber-physical systems and there are large solution safe guidance as a configuration in our implementation, it will drive additional complications and complexity into our team design strategy. All of these things should be discussed openly within the collaborators in your workshop. The goal is to allow everyone to have an equal voice and to hypothesize about which strategies would be better than other strategies. So we will need to take all of these inputs and apply the team topologies of complicated subsystem, enabling team, streamlined art, and platform team to our proposed team design strategy. In the case where we have a complex cyber-physical system, we will probably want to apply large solution safe. That will bring additional complexities into our discussion, and all of these inputs and discussions will be collaborated on by the people attending the team design strategy workshop. We are now trying to consolidate all of this information and understand the pains and the opportunities to ultimately drive team and art topology design that will be set for success in the future. Now let's discuss art self-selection and team formation. This is the next workshop following the team design strategy workshop. The outcome from the value stream identification workshop and the team design strategy workshop become inputs into the self-selection and team formation workshop. This is critically important because sharing information with all of the stakeholders included is important because the treasure is in the people. There are many books and videos and articles on the topic of self-selection. In this case, we're formalizing the event. It includes all of the art stakeholders. And because the treasure is in the people, we want the people to participate in this open workshop. The workshop itself, as we've noted, includes the context of your Scaled Agile framework implementation within that value stream and the portfolio. So we use design thinking. We consider the measure and grow dimensions. We consider our scaling context and whether or not we're using linked portfolio management. All of these inputs will allow everyone to create a shared understanding and ultimately a shared commitment to organizing around value and focusing on the customer. So this is beyond the art quick launch. It happens before we teach safer teams and we launch the Agile release training. The intent then is for the self-selection and team formation workshop to become an input into your planning for your art quick launch. The self-selection process in SAFE, as we know, is part of the implementation roadmap. So all of the inputs are included. The leaders at the self-selection workshop will present the vision for change that was organized in preparation. Everyone is given a place. Everyone has a seat, if you will. The proposed team design strategy is shared. Then the teams are given time to take it all in. Perhaps you even had the ability to share the information just before the workshop itself. These workshops, as far as a time box, are scheduled from anywhere to 2 hours for smaller Agile release trains to an entire day, or perhaps 3 or more sessions over several days. We apply Agile and Scrum practices. So you'll see the pattern in the guidance where the teams would think about their design and they would build a design, review the design, and then do a retrospective so that we can understand whether we're making progress towards an idealized Agile release train. So each team during the review, of course, will present the makeup of their team, and everyone will have an opportunity to provide feedback. We'll collaborate on that, and then we'll run another iteration. So the process repeats until we are satisfied with the structure of the Agile release train. This means that the teams have consumed the team design strategy and all of the inputs, and all of the context of our value stream have been taken into account. The teams are ultimately accepted by the business owners, product managers, and all of the organization stakeholders that are involved in the selection process. There is a large amount of great content out there in the wild that can give you guys some guidance on where to start. There's a great video that I provided here on team self-design. It's not SAFE specific, but it gives us some ideas on how could we start this and what would it look like. We've also provided a self-selection process that we found. Your process may vary. I strongly encourage you to build a plan that is built on the context of your teams, your people, so that you can build the most effective possible workshop. In today's world, we're all working remotely, so you may need to select carefully a set of tools in order to facilitate effectively. You will have to have a virtual teleconferencing tool like Zoom, for example. So taking this to the teams means that they will be part of the process and they will develop ownership. Notably, we've talked about principle number 10, organizing around value. One amazing thing about this workshop process is that we tie in other principles in SAFE. Specifically, principle number 8, unlock the intrinsic motivation of knowledge workers, where, for example, Dan Pink talks about the concept of autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Bringing the work to the people and allowing them to be part of the solution, designing it, building it, and implementing it. And then, because of the process and the collaboration that occurs, there will be many opportunities to apply principle number 9, decentralized decision-making, as we identify the delays in the system that are affected structurally, how the hierarchy exists, and thinking about Conway's law. So these principles help us and guide this workshop. So organizing team formation then, here are some getting started tools for you. These are some of the things that we use to organize self-selection. We recommend organizing a mock workshop. Ask for volunteers from your stakeholder community. Practice what you will be setting the stage for. That way we can identify any weaknesses in our plan and then create the necessary improvements before we do it for real. Presenting the vision for change is really important. It's probably tied to the why. Why are we changing? Why are we practicing lean and agile now? Why are we using SAFE? That is necessary to be reinforced at the beginning of this event to remind everyone of the necessity for change and its source. Create and share a rationalized schedule, workshop agreements. These are all important foundational things that we do as facilitators. Using a design thinking pattern, allowing the time and space for divergence and convergence to occur is critically important in this process. In the first several iterations, people will still be consuming the information about the change, all of the inputs. So give them time to really dive into the details and explore and discover a great solution. So, of course, we'll be building our teams with Agile and Scrum. They will be expected to practice Agile and Scrum after, we hope. So, therefore, we can use this as a teaching moment as well, as we use the iterative and incremental approach to developing our product, which is the Agile release train. Of course, it's important to think about the philosophy and goals. That is part of the discussion throughout the workshop, reminding people why we're there and what we're trying to accomplish. So you need great facilitators and SAFE program consultants to help you through this process. Ultimately, the customer is the people involved. So think of it in terms of, are they happy? Are they going to be satisfied with this product? Are they going to be excited with the product? Will they buy more of our product? Is it going to do well in the marketplace? All the things that we would think about in terms of building a product with SAFE after we've launched an ARC. Here you'll see a typical agenda. It is just designed to get you started. We would recommend, again, that you go directly to your context and really think about how you're going to organize this workshop to have it effective in your business context. If you are remote or you have teams that are geographically located in other parts of the world, you will have to adjust this agenda adequately to make sure that everyone has the safety necessary to be successful. The basic pattern is applying design thinking and an iterative approach to developing the product, which is the art. Allow time and space in between and adequate breaks as well, so that the teams can really dive into the details and not feel rushed. This way we can have the best possible outcome. And finally, meeting in the middle. How do we actually get there? It's important to note that effective team formation self-selection occurs at the intersection of your organization's knowledge, its principles, its patterns, and its collaboration. This means that change leaders need to be involved, and they have to understand and be willing to put the effort in to pull together the people and all the knowledge and apply the principles in a meaningful way while we're collaborating in this workshop. This takes great coaches, and we must serve the stakeholder group for this workshop. Why do we get there? As I noted earlier, the treasure really is in the people. The people are a critical element of our solution. Therefore, because every stakeholder that is involved and is participating has earned their voice and their opportunity to share in the solution we're designing, the risks and the opportunity, we owe it to them to give them the best possible experience. That way we can be setting the stage for high performance and success and innovation in the future. I'm reminded by Captain David Marquet, the author of Turn the Ship Around, a notable thought leader and amazing submarine commander, who introduced a lot of really critical concepts about leadership to us. One of the notable ones for me is leadership is communicating to people their worth and potential so that clearly that they are inspired to see in themselves, giving them clarity and intent so that they can solve the problems on their own. Quite remarkable and a great roundout to thinking about what we should be doing, not doing, and what our goal is for this workshop. We should not be trying to imbalance the equation in the favor of any one group of stakeholders. We're all familiar with how organizations work. Be aware of what the impediments are to a successful team formation workshop. Ultimately, script the important moves so that the workshop will be successful. People will be happy, even excited about the future of this change that's coming. And then you can use that to fuel your transformation. These are the books that were referenced in this workshop. I look forward to all of your questions, and I'm excited that you guys are at the SAFE Summit. Please remember to rate the session. I will be available for questions. Thank you very much for your time. I sincerely appreciate it. Good day.